If you have spent any time watching Formula 1 recently, you would have probably heard everyone talking about the championship battle this year. "Oh man, McLaren are finally gonna win after years. Nah man, Ferrari's gonna cook with Ferrari, we're gonna win. Nah, both of y'all are stupid. Red Bull's so obviously gonna pull through and we're gonna win everything again, idiots." However, if you're a negative Nancy like myself, you probably at the very least have your doubts about these statements. Now, it should go without saying that these statements definitely aren't made lightly, since recent races and recent developments certainly do point to this narrative. And you know what? I, for one, am not complaining, considering the state of F1 has been since the end of 2021. "Aw man, Ferrari are back, new regs, new Ferrari, bring the title home and defeat Max." Oh, never mind. Max won 15 out of 22 races. "Oh man, Aston Martin is cooking, bring Daddy Alonso, win 33 and title number 3. Oh, never mind. Aston Martin don't know how to upgrade a car. And Max won 19 out of 22 races. And going into 2024, most of us thought the season was already wrapped up before they even begun, considering that preseason showed a much more faster RB19 and also a more stable RB19. So the feeling going into 2024 was grim, which wasn't helped by Max and Checo getting 3-1-2s in the first 4 races, and Max winning 4 out of 5 races before Miami. But then Miami came. Going into Miami, it was clear that McLaren had a really fast race car, since McLaren found a way to give themselves infinite resources on the F1 game and transfer it over to real life. And going into sprint quali, it looked like Lando Norris was going to topple Verstappen and get sprint pole. However, we know what happened.
Okay, I think that's it. That's P1 Max.
Lol. So after a typical Norris bottle, we had the sprint where Lando can really redeem himself, and never mind, he's already crashed. To be fair though, it wasn't his fault, but the vibes at McLaren were down, and normal quali didn't help at all, with Max and Charles seeming too quick for them. However, we all know how the race ended.
It's victory in Miami for Norris and McLaren!
In what could have and honestly should have been a McLaren 1-2 had Sainz and Piastri not had a hissy fit, Lando won his first ever race for McLaren, and almost immediately people started spouting some title shot thing. But to me, that was stupid. It was just one race, and Lando needed a bit of luck to win it. I bet things will return back to normal in Imola. Okay, but that's just 2 races. Things are gonna calm back down in Monaco. You know, maybe they have a point. If McLaren keep this upward trajectory going, which I don't see why not considering how their development went in 2023, we could genuinely see something between Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari, since Max, Lando, and Charles are without a doubt, in my opinion, the 3 best drivers this year. However, there are potential problems that could plague McLaren now and in the future if they want to stay as challengers, such as their low speed performance, which could prove to be extremely detrimental in a season where they need consistency in order to be considered title challengers. I mean, just look at Jeddah and Bahrain this year, where at the slower speed corners, the McLaren looked and performed like a hog at a horse race. Now, Andrea Stella has said that these issues will take a while to fix. Specifically, he is targeting 2025 for these issues to be ironed out, which would be fine normally. However, 2025 is the last year on these current regulations, and if new McLaren cars on new regulations is anything to go by, then maybe I'd be a little worried going into 2026 if I was a McLaren fan. Now, I may be biased considering that I am a delusional Ferrari fan, but we're winning both championships. Cry now, cry harder later, because we're winning everything. But on a real note, for the majority of these regs, Ferrari have been Red Bull's closest competitors, and this is a position that probably should have been taken advantage of with meaningful upgrades, brilliant strategies, and optimal race execution. However, I did say probably.
Stay out!
For my own sanity, I'm not going to show you more, but you get the idea. Anyways, in a move that shook no one, Binotto would be sacked by Ferrari at the end of 2022, which could have made or break the team depending on their next team principal. However, Ferrari were smart and they decided to be run under the French again instead of the Italians. And how did that go?
Carlos Sainz, tactical brilliance! What a comeback! A Ferrari 1-2! This fabled race is won by one of their own!
Frederic Vasseur has started to prove to us Ferrari fans that he is the correct man for the job, considering he actually fires people, promotes people, hires great people, and takes initiative in bettering the team. And top that with his likability and his connection with a weirdly amount of people on the F1 grid, we may actually have a chance at winning something this year.
Oh, brother!
Now, I know that maybe I am being a little delusional, But can you blame me? We won 2 races this year already, and while the first one was helped largely in part to Max's braid going on strike, either way, we still had a lot of pace and maybe could have even won without Max even retiring at all. And with how the car is being developed, with Vasseur going on record to state how there will be an SF24 Evo, things really seem to be on the up. But this is Ferrari we're talking about.
As well of that lock-up from Mclaren.
If we stay at this pace, what are we looking for in terms of position?
If we can keep Bottas behind P1.
Obviously.
Some problems that could plague the team this season is, of course, the team itself. Who's to say that fatal mistakes won't be made that could potentially kill our season? Who's to say that this SF24 Evo is even going to be good? This is the same team that somehow made a championship winning car in 2022 end up being arguably the 3rd fastest car by the time the season ended. And let us not forget Leclerc's ability to refuse to be crashed out unless he does it to himself.
His way to the front row. Wonderful sound as he sweeps through, sparks out the back of the car. Can the Monegasque driver? Oh, he's lost it! He's lost it! He's spun off the road!
However, we do have to admit, this season, Ferrari have strangely not done any of this. Strategies have been good, upgrades have been good, race engineering has been good, which could only leave us to wonder, how will the team move forward in 2026, since the team has been relatively quiet about the year, and of course, how will Lewis Hamilton perform when he drives in red next year? Could things potentially get unstable at Ferrari? Or will Ferrari end up in another golden age enter 2026? Now, let's talk about Red Bull. Red Bull have been winning non-stop since 2022 and it really looked like the team had no weaknesses at all. However, there was one weakness that we didn't even think to consider, and that is Christian Horner. If you have been living under a rock, then too bad, because I'm not going to explain what happened. Christian Horner has undoubtedly harmed Red Bull's image in F1, from the alleged text to his horrible PR stunts following the allegations. The mood at Red Bull finally looked down after so long, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. From Adrian Newey suddenly announcing his departure from Red Bull after his relationship with Christian Horner seemed to have deteriorated, to Max's father Jos Verstappen potentially being responsible for the text even getting out there in the first place in an effort to gain power at Red Bull, to even reports that Christian Horner wanted to take over the Red Bull company itself. It really seemed like a full-blown Red Bull civil war was breaking out, and even though the team was still winning in the early parts of the season, you could tell things weren't exactly all good at Red Bull Racing. And to put the cherry on top of this situation, the RB20 is showing its weaknesses, from its lackluster one-lap performance to its inability to drive on the curbs, which is, important because a lot of tracks have them. Its inaccurate simulator, which may as well be ran on the F1 game, and Red Bull retaining Sergio Perez, who's starting to enter in his mid-season slump. It finally seems like the once impenetrable team we all dreaded seems to not be so impenetrable after all. However, this is Red Bull we are talking about. They could easily crush all our hopes and dreams by winning at Canada and winning every race following Canada, and we'll all look like a bunch of delusional idiots forever thinking that this season can be fun to watch for once. So what are the chances we could actually have the title fight for once this season between Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari? Well, if I had to rate the possibility for a different winner from most unlikely to most likely, I would say I don't know, because from the look of things, I would definitely say likely, but given recent Ferrari incompetence and McLaren maybe still missing that final piece of the puzzle, then I could just as likely see Red Bull winning both titles again. But in the end, the whole point of this video is discussing if there is a chance that a title race can happen, not if another team can win a title, and considering McLaren's upward trajectory, Ferrari's plan going accordingly, and the Red Bull Civil War, I feel like I could confidently say that there will likely be some sort of fight for the title this season between the big three F1 teams. Or maybe I just jinxed everything and Red Bull win both titles with 5 races to go, in which, I'm sorry.